Hello people, welcome to Retro Video Games, and today I'm going to talk about my video game history. This won't be a long video, I'll try not to drag it on too much. My first games console was the Commodore 64. I believe that would have been about 1986, so I would have been about 4 or 5 years old. And then I think it was the early 90s, I got given a Master System for Christmas. It was my first ever games console. It was the first version of the Master System, the one obviously that made after the SG-1000. It came with Super Hang-On built in. It also came with the Fiery Hunt game. It's a long time ago. Then I bought a small library. I think the most games I ever amassed on that in the 3 years I had it was probably about 10, 12 games. Because obviously back then my parents, we didn't have the money to buy me games every week. You know, that's just the way it was back then. And then also in '93 I got the Mega Drive for my birthday. The first games I got with that, it came one built in. So I bought the one with Sonic 1. As my first game. Then I got some other games. I got Last Battle, I got EA Hockey, and with John Madden's football built into it. I also got what was it? Lotus Turbo 2 Rex as well. That was a package. I can't remember the price because obviously it's 25 years ago. And then after that, I moved on and got an add-on. A year later, I got the Sega Mega CD 2, which came with 9 games. Those 9 games, I believe, were Super Monaco GP, Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, Columns, and something else, Cobra Command, and Sylphied, which were on the same thing, Tomcat Alley, Road Avenger as well. Then 2 years later, then a year later, I bought Sega Mega CD, Sega 32X. I bought a Sega 32X. Sega 32X, which had Virtua Racer with it, also had Star Wars with it, and Doom. And it was a really, really good game. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And then after that, I kept the 32X for about another year. Then I traded all my stuff in and saved 50 quid towards a PlayStation 1. But unfortunately, I went to get a second-hand PlayStation 1. This was 1996. But unfortunately, they were all sold out. So the only alternative was a Sega Saturn. So I bought the Sega Saturn for £70. Back then, obviously, they were just about to go kaboom. They weren't successful. The games were really cheap. I could get games for £5, £6. I had the system for about 3 years. Then I sold it. But in '97 of that Christmas, December '97, I got given a console that I really wanted, the PlayStation 1. Of course, I had the PlayStation 1 for many years. But while I had the PlayStation 1, I also made the mistake of getting a Sega Saturn on launch. So the Sega Saturn, I can't remember the price of it, but I had Sonic Adventure with it and Ready to Rumble and one controller. And I think the most games I ever bought for that console was about 3 or 4. I wasn't really into it. So then I just gave the console away to my nephew, which was a very silly thing to do in hindsight. But I thought the Dreamcast was good, but if I realised what kind of a piece of equipment I had then, I wouldn't have given it away. But when you're younger, when you've got these consoles, you don't think too much, I wish I'd kept it, even if I hadn't used it, I wish I'd just kept it as a collector's thing. Had the box that had everything with it. But then again, these are mistakes. You don't think, I'm going to keep that box. But 2 years later, I bought myself a PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2, I believe, had been out a year by the time I bought it, which would have been about 2000. But first game I had was FIFA 2001 with it. I enjoyed the PlayStation 2 for many years. I ended up amassing a library of about 110 games. But then when I moved house or whatever, I ended up giving the whole collection away. After the PlayStation 2, I went ahead in 2009. So I left the console about 2006. I bought myself an Xbox 360, or it's 2007. And the game I had with it is Gotham Project Racing 3 and a boxing game. That's the only game I bought. I had the Xbox for about 360 for about 3 or 4 years. Then I bought a PlayStation 3, which came with Need for Speed, and then that's the only game I had for a while. Then I amassed a collection of about 60. So over the years, I've got about 60 games for it. So I've had that for about 9 years. Then after that, some years later, I ended up buying the PlayStation 4 in 20, and I've amassed a library of, I've got about 12 games for the PS4. I don't really play it much. Then I also bought Nintendo Switch on launch day, and I've got about 5 games for that. I play it, but I just haven't got a lot of games for it. And also, what other games is there? I've got the games I've got for that. I've got Zelda Breath of the Wild, Switch 1 2, which isn't really a game. I've got Bomberman on launch. I've got that other game, the racing game, Gear Club Unlimited, which is a good game. Now recently, about 2 months ago, when they had the Black Friday sales, I went and bought myself an Xbox One, an Xbox One S, and I'm very impressed. I've got the steering wheel for it. I've got a Forza 3 built, and I've got a couple of games. But looking back at my history of all these consoles, all the ones I've owned, all the ones I've bought, all the ones I've sold. In addition, I've owned other consoles. I'm going to quickly go to handhelds now. The first handheld I owned was a yellow DMG Game Boy, and that would be sometime in the mid-90s. And I gave that away, and I don't know why. Stupid thing to do. Then I ended up having a Game Gear that my sister gave me. Then I bought a Game Boy Pocket. Then I got the Game Boy Pocket Color. But recently, I've been amassing bigger collections. Like I've recently bought an N64. Recently bought a GameCube. Originally, I owned a Game Boy. See, the problem with me, when I've had all these consoles, I mean, these consoles are brilliant. All the different ones I've got like, on my shelves, I've got games and games that I've got a couple of sealed games there, you know. So, I mean, I have a 32X now and a Mega CD, all in boxes, but the collection keeps growing and growing. I mean, that's what I like about game collecting. The history of the games, and it really interests me. I mean, I spend a lot of time watching videos about games. I love collecting. I love playing. I probably spend more time looking up games to buy than I do actually playing. But the most console I play at the minute would be the Switch. That's the one I play the most. Then I play the Xbox One. But this is just an insight into my gaming history, so I thought I'd share that with you guys. I'll be back with later in the week. See you later, guys.